This is the follow-up to the first presentation on the video on the chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. We gave you the chiropractic neurological approach to this as far as treatment and diagnosis. Now we're going to go to the nutrition part of this thing. We also use this in conjunction with our holistic approach to the handling of the chronic fatigue and the fibromyalgia patients. Not necessarily in order of the usefulness, but I will show you the things that we use in our clinic that we've seen to have gotten good results on. Now, I have a printout here that probably has 100 different nutritional supplements that studies have shown are helpful to those conditions, but I find that there's only a few that really seem to be effective as far as our own clinical practice goes, and I'll give you what we find effective. There's three things that we almost always use on these patients, whether they're chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia patients, and that is the acetyl L-carnitine, the alpha-lipoic acid, and the coenzyme Q10. In fact, if you want to go to Berkeley University's website and look at the work of Bruce Ames, he's a PhD biochemist there who's done a lot of very, very advanced work on this. In fact, he even wrote several papers on the use of acetylcarnitine and alpha-lipoic acid in reviving the activity of the mitochondria. The mitochondria are the little organelles inside of cells that create the adenosine triphosphate, which is actually the fuel for cells. And coenzyme Q10, the acetylcarnitine, alpha-lipoic acid, and even ribose, the sugar, have been shown to increase mitochondrial activity by over 400% as far as creation of energy. In fact, ribose is used commonly in congestive heart failure because the heart has the highest concentration of mitochondria because it contracts the most, has to create the most energy, and it literally has saved lives on some people with advanced either cardiomyopathy or congestive heart failure. So it's specific for that. So we find we use this in many of our patients. Typical dosages on the carnitine, acetyl L-carnitine is 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams a day. Alpha-lipoic acid, typically 600 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day. Coenzyme Q10, I prefer the ubiquinol because it's the most absorbable, most biologically active. Also, it's the most expensive, but I recommend no less than 300. I typically go with 600 milligrams on this sort of thing. And many times those three things by themselves will do it. Another supplement that we use commonly on patients is NADH, nicotine adenine dinucleotide, which is kind of a cousin of niacin. Only small amounts of this are needed. It can be quite effective. All our patients, we recommend the eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid, fish oils for short. Don't use the flaxseed oil. Some people have trouble converting that particular type of fatty acid into the omega-3s, the eicosapentaenoic and docosahexaenoic, and so just go with the fish and you're done. Make sure the fish oil supplement that you get is high quality. There's a lot of junk out there, a lot of stuff coming in from China. You know, you get what you pay for. You want to make sure it doesn't have any of the pesticides, herbicides, chemicals, mercuries, and things like that. Somebody's gone to the trouble. Magnesium. Usually we use what are called the Krebs intermediates. Krebs intermediates are phthalates, aspartates, and orotates. We know there's all other kinds out there, but I can just tell you that those have been found to be the most effective, particularly for chronic fatigue. In fact, the drug companies did research using these particular type of naturally occurring minerals in chronic fatigue patients and got quite good results, but they couldn't patent it because it's a naturally occurring substance. Glutathione. Actually, it's the enzyme glutathione peroxidase which improves the energy creation activity of the mitochondria. The best way to get that in the body, because actually glutathione is not that well absorbed, is to take N-acetylcysteine, which actually converts into glutathione at a much better rate than the absorption is, and that's what we use. Typically 500 milligrams 3 times a day. Another powerful nutritional supplement we use for our patients is a thing called ProBoost. ProBoost is a thymic peptide A. We get ours from VRP, and it is a major immune stimulant. In fact, on our website and also as some others, you can read the research on coenzyme Q10 and how it can stimulate the immune system, particularly if you have the type of chronic fatigue that followed a flu. Commonly you have people that say, hey, I got the flu and I never seem to have gotten over it. Some people, that's not the way it happened, but those people seem to do very well with the thymic peptide A. Also, I might add that the amino acids tyrosine and phenylalanine, very potent neurotransmitters.